just like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. And honestly, I wasn't prepared for her to say that, but I was just like, okay. On my lunch break, I went ahead and went to her office, and as I'm riding up that elevator, I'm like, what am I about to hear? What is this lady about to tell me? Oh my gosh. So when I got there, she was so sweet, and she was just like, can you shut the door behind us? And I was just like, no, I can't shut the door behind you. I don't want to come in anymore. I don't want to know anymore. But anyways, she says, can you come shut the door behind, can you come in, shut the door behind you? And I'm like, okay. So I sit down and she tells me, so the preliminary results came back and you do have lymphoma. Again, it is only the preliminary results, so we don't know what type of lymphoma it is, but we do know that it is cancer. And I literally felt like the world was crashing down around me. Again, another outer body experience. I just kind of sat there. I didn't really know what to say to her. I didn't really know how to react. Honestly, I can't even remember what I was feeling. It was, I don't know. Maybe a sense of a feeling of disbelief. I was a little bit angry. I was sad, but in the back of my mind, I was kind of preparing myself because I knew it was an option. I will say though, from the beginning of this whole process, from when the nurse initially called me and told me that I needed to go get this CT scan, I've always had somebody by my side. Whether it was my mom, my dad, my brother, or my boyfriend, I've always had somebody there with me. And so when I was listening to this news, I was so happy that I was by myself. And the reason why I say that, because people in my position who are dealing with cancer, they also have this responsibility or burden. I don't know, I can't think of the right word, but they have to deal with the fact that everybody who they love, they're affecting in a negative way. And me, I'm always a person in my family who's always happy, who's always upbeat, who always wants to see people smiling and having a good time. I'm always worried about everybody around me, and I just want everybody to be happy and content. And just knowing that I was a person who was causing so much pain to all the people who I love in my life, it was just something difficult for me. And it's still something that I'm struggling with today. So just being there in that office by myself, I was able to process it, react the way I wanted to. She just sat there quietly. She let me cry. I'm pretty sure if I wanted to scream, she would have been okay with that. But she just gave me tissues and she was just like, here, process how you want. And so I just sat there quietly. I just thought about everything. I think I shed a couple of tears, and then I asked her to call my mom and let her know. And she told me that now it's not in her hands anymore, and she referred me to, you know, an oncologist who she thought was really good. And yeah, so that's how I found out that I had cancer. I think probably a week later they found out that it was actually Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that was just a phone call. At that time, I've kind of already processed the fact that I had cancer, so figuring out that I had Hodgkin's lymphoma was actually a positive moment during this whole process, because Hodgkin's lymphoma has a high cure rate, and they know a lot about it, and they have really good treatment for it. So I was happy that it was Hodgkin's lymphoma. But yeah, so that's how I found out. Once I found out that it was Hodgkin's lymphoma, my oncologist was really on top of things, super thorough. He really got the ball rolling with things, and I think that within the next month and a half, I was starting treatment. So yeah, that's how I found out, guys.
I mean, you are so funny. Really into this shit. Yeah, la vida. This is too much. This is too much.
Okay. All right, everybody. Now I want to introduce the most important person to me, the love of my life, my mother, Rafina Lopez.
careful, guys.
So I wanted to bring her onto this video because she has been with me since the very beginning until now. So her perspective of this whole story is super important. So we're just gonna get started with the first question, and it is, how did you feel when you found out that your daughter, the love of your life, too, because I'm the love of your life?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I got 2 more kids now.
I know,
and my grandkids.
I know, but I'm the best.
Okay.
Are you gonna admit that on camera? Okay, so how did you feel when you found out that I had cancer?
Okay, from the moment she called me to let me know that that they saw something in the X-ray, I got nervous, and I told her immediately we need to go and get checked out. So once they did the X-ray and the doctor saw that there was something and decided to do the CT scan, I was really, really worried, but I still have to act like everything was okay. So finally, when the doctor came in and said, okay, there is a tumor, my heart dropped.
Oh Lord.
So
I really couldn't tell.
yeah, well, my heart dropped, and it took me a few minutes to realize, okay, I got to keep her cool, because she was already crying, and I didn't want to get too upset to worry her more.
Right.
So I just
played it cool.
Yes, I just was, okay, it's okay. It could be a benign tumor. Let's wait until we get the results.
So then, after all the biopsy and everything like that, and then finally, when the cardiac surgeon called and let you know that it was actually cancer,
then it's like, it was crazy.
your world stopped.
You cannot even imagine what I felt. I couldn't believe that my daughter, my baby girl, had cancer.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I had to get a grip and say, okay, now what we do? I knew that I needed to really keep her cool, because in order for her to have a successful recovery, she needed to have a positive attitude.
Right.
So
dang, you really, I feel like it's crazy, because now that I really think about it, you really did a good job with like keeping me very, keeping me calm, keeping me with a positive attitude. And I did notice when you used to walk out the room and stuff like that, and I knew you were calling Angel and Eddie and Daddy. Yeah. I knew all of that, but
I had to make sure everybody in the family, her brothers, especially her dad, to try really hard not to break down and to keep her cool. We needed to make her feel like, okay,
she's the rock in the family.
This is okay. You're gonna be okay. We're gonna tackle this, and you're gonna be fine.
Right.
So I think everybody pretty much did a good job in that.
No, they really did. They really did. Yeah. Like I told you guys before, she has been with me since day one, and she has been going through this whole process right by my side. So she has been my primary caregiver, going to all the appointments with me, taking me to all my treatments, making sure I take all my medications. So how was that whole process?
It was hectic. It was hectic, and it was a little it was heartbreaking, because I just hated to see her like that, especially when she was getting her treatment. It was literally, most of the time, I had to like pick her up and literally get her out of the car and drag her, put her into the bed, because she was just...
Yeah, I was just like super tired. So initially when I started my treatment, I was on one regimen, and then I had to switch to a more aggressive treatment. And on day one of my cycles, it was really, really bad. I used to dread going there. I knew I would call her.
She will actually cry. Yeah. If she had an appointment on Monday, she will actually literally cry on Sunday. Yeah. Because she just didn't...
I didn't want to go because I just hated the fact that what was making me better was making me feel like crap. I would go there, and then I would literally, like, I don't know, my body wasn't mine anymore. I was super tired. It literally hurt. And then I would wake up, and like she said, she literally had to take me out of the car and put me into the bed. So yeah.
Well, one of the time that really I was worried is because the first regimen she was on, the doctor told us that after the fourth treatment, the tumor should have been gone. So when we went to the appointment after the fourth treatment, and she had a CT scan, and they saw that the tumor was still there, and the doctor told us that she's gonna go into a more aggressive treatment. That really scared me.
Really?
Yes, that really scared me because I was expecting for it to
Yeah.
go the way the doctor had told us.
Right.
That, okay, after the full treatment, the tumor gonna go, and then
The rest of
that
them was
mean,
just gonna be like
right,
maintenance.
right.
Yeah.
That means
I went into that appointment thinking like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
another appointment. Did my PET
we
scan.
were very optimistic. So after the doctor gave us that news that she will have to do a more aggressive, then that really
Put things
that,
into
yes,
perspective.
it
And
really got me scared. But like I
Yeah.
said, I had to play my role again because I didn't want to get her nervous. I didn't want to get her worried. She already was dealing with a lot. So
oh yeah, I remember when I had that allergic reaction.
yeah, so then finally when she started the aggressive treatment that very first day, she had an allergic reaction that, oh my God, it was scary.
Yeah.
It
That
was
was
very
nice.
scary.
How was that for you?
Oh,
Well, first let me say how it was for me. So I was sitting there, the nurse hooked up my IV, and I felt a rumbling in my stomach, and I was just like, okay, what is that? Do I have to use the bathroom? And it literally went from my stomach up to my chest, and I couldn't breathe anymore.
no, she just looked at me and she said, "Mom, like help." Her
Yeah,
face,
I couldn't breathe anymore. I couldn't breathe,
her
and I
face
felt like,
was red, and
yeah.
I just popped out, and I just ran and started yelling to the nurse.
It was so scary. I was just like, okay, this is it. I really felt like I was dying because I'm not allergic to anything. I've never had an allergic reaction anymore, or I've never had an allergic reaction before. So it was just like when all of this stuff was happening, I was like, help, I can't breathe. Like,
It was scary. I was like, oh my God. So the nurse them came in and they literally knew what to do because they took care of it right away.
yeah, and they knew that it was the what was it? It was a nausea medication that they were giving me. I was allergic to that, but my boyfriend was there at the time, and he said that I was looking at him, and when I looked away and I looked back at him, he said that he watched my eyes turn red from here to here. Like, he just watched it turn red.
So that was a very scary experience. So
Yeah.
um,
That's when things got real.
Yes.
For me, I was like,
So anyway, thank God they figured out what she was allergic to. So I was praying really hard that this treatment, that the regimen worked for her, and that there was no other inconvenience, so we can get this over with.
And I ended up having another allergic reaction.
So, but
that one was minor, and they knew what to do. And
so the bottom line is that we were lucky, and she continued with her treatment. It was hard. Another thing that really make me sick to my stomach is when her hair start falling out.
Oh, yeah.
She went crazy, and when I saw that, I just like, oh my God, this is
I was
real.
in the shower, and I wash my hair every Sunday. That's my wash day. And the doctor told me that my hair was going too thin. So every Sunday when I would wash my hair, like, you know, some hair would fall out, and I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. But on one particular Sunday, my hair was coming out
in chunks.
Yeah. And I'm like, hold on a second. And I literally screamed for my mom. Like, oh my gosh.
So when I got into her room and saw all that hair on the floor, oh my God, I didn't know what to say. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So
that's that one time that you couldn't keep a straight face.
yeah, I was really.
I felt like I almost saw tears.
Yeah.
I was crying. Like we were both almost crying.
So I was like, oh my God, it really broke my heart seeing her hair falling out. So finally, you know, I was able to calm her down. You know, I had to call my son so she could talk to her. She talked to my goddaughter. She talked to her friend, her boyfriend. And well, finally she calmed down, and the next day it was a better day. So,
yeah, Aisha and Daphne came to surprise me. I was literally under my covers. I told everybody to leave me alone. I didn't want to talk to anybody, but they came anyways, and I'm so thankful that they did.
So yeah, once they came and they went somewhere and she came back, she was with a better attitude.
Yeah,
she finally decided to go ahead and shave the hair off completely.
Yeah.
There was no point for her to be suffering every time her hair was falling out.
Yeah, and at that point too, my hair wasn't really the same. The texture was different, and it just, I had already disconnected with it, and I was ready to let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah. So yeah, so now that we are towards the end of my treatment, and we're about to finish with chemotherapy, next step will be radiation. And when that's over, what are you looking forward to when all of this is over?
Well, I'm looking forward for her to start being Joella. I can't wait for her hair to start growing so she could start driving me crazy about her hair and spending money like crazy with hair products. And oh my God, she is just crazy with that hair. And yeah, I'm looking forward for her to go on with her life so she'll be able to go back to school and finish her master's. I'm looking forward for her to going back to work full time.
And just going back to the
normal life.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible, get married and start having babies.
Yes. Heard that, Aaron? But that's it. That's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if you haven't, like and subscribe. Mommy, thank you so much for coming on here. Love you, love you, love you, long time.
Princess.
That's it.